Hello. Hello. What are you working on? What are you working on? Okay, so I think that's, I got everything good there. We're up on both of those. Cool. So we're gonna continue sculpting process on this duder. Hopefully trying to finish up the blade, and then we are gonna sculpt. Okay, let's see if we're good here still. Sorry, trying to finagle with some stuff. Okay. Whoop. Should be good now, hopefully. I really hope so. So yeah, we're just gonna be finishing up the blade, working on some more cracks and whatnot, trying to get this thing done and out of here so that we can start working on the low poly. And then push this guy on over to get it textured, which would be dope and super fun. So, because I don't know about you guys, but normally these don't take this long, but we had some technical issues last week, and some other stuff. So yeah, there we go. But for the most part, we're just noodling away some more at this kind of stuff. We're getting close to something that I'm pretty happy with, and if anything, I might just, if we can't get a little bit more details and stuff out, I will probably just call it done so that we can move on, and push for some more stuff. So, but I think the hardest part is trying to get, I don't know, the blade crack feels kind of forced, but I want it to crack around this. Nah. I actually do like that cracking though a lot. See that this just cracks straight inward, right? Okay, cool, but then this can crack like like this. Nah. Would have to do like parting over here. blah blah blah. Okay. We're gonna keep try. Okay, yep. I want something like that. Trying to find something that feels natural for these points to come connect to each other and not look forced or, you know, cliche or whatever. It's really hard. Char. Maybe they just won't. Oops. You know what? We might just leave it fucking here. Yeah, I got it. It's fine. Alright, well, I think for the most part, I guess what we could do, we could do like little slashes here or there. Give us some little details. I love putting those little X's on things. It's really fun. I'm just trying to get some little micro stuff. I want some. The blade seems too flat, so I want to get some new little interesting things in it. Okay, well, I don't know. I think we might call this one finished for now. I lied. Actually, we're gonna do. Oops. We are going to. Maybe do something with this. I think we were trying to do something with this last time and it didn't turn out very well. We're gonna try to make it work again, which will be fun. And then after this we'll be done. And I'll plop it. We'll go through like the whole decimation process and all that fun stuff. It's a fun process. Okay. Whoop. We're gonna do some pinch brush in here. Probably too big, but that's fine. Sorry if you just heard that in the mic. Okay, for right now we're just gonna let that kind of be its thing. Yeah, we'll just stick with that. Sounds good. Okay, so to go through and decimate this now, um, so this thing is currently numbers 4 million polygons, and I lied. This one is 800,000, which is a lot, and 3ds Max, which is the 3D modeling program I'm going to use after this, cannot handle that many at once. Well, it could, it slows down everything. So there's a process to get this guy, get rid of all the stuff that we don't need, and keep all the stuff that we want. So the best way to look at this is all of those polygons, all these little black squares. So that's what this is, all, 800,000 of them, something like that. So we're going to do this really cool thing called decimation. So I'll just show it on one, but I could go through the whole mesh if I wanted to, which we will eventually. So it's going to take a little bit, but what this does is it goes through and processes the current mesh, and it kind of, under my assumption, it determines which polygons are the most useful, and it kind of like reads all these shapes. So then I can just do like 20%. I normally try to do percents because numbers can be finicky. And it cuts my polygon count by 20%. So I'm going to decimate current. And now you can see I dropped down to 100 polys. I'm at 350. So I just lost 500,000 polygons, and it still looks the same, which is pretty freaking cool. Makes it really nice. So I'm actually going to drop that down again. So we pre-process current. Gonna wait for it to kind of do its thing. Of course, it gets faster and quicker the more you go through, so it's nice. So pre-process, we're gonna decimate current. Again, 20%. Dropped it down. Now we're at 70,000, which should be enough. That should be fine. Alright, so blade spike 1, it's already pretty low, 10,000. We can still drop this down. So again, pre-process current. Just gonna go through, it's a lot of these. Decimate, dropped super way down. Dope, awesome, hype. Let's go. Same thing. So I'm just gonna go through and do this to all of our stuff. To get these guys ready to export. This one is still pretty high. So we're gonna do that again. No, that's fine. Something I forgot to do before I started doing all of this was save. So luckily, I mean, we didn't do a lot, but just remember to always save before you do this stuff, because I'm not getting this geometry back. Once it happens, it happens. Dope. Okay, so that's fine. Cool, awesome. This one will be fun. This one actually be really fun to try to work into the low poly. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Just make current. Do it again. Again. Cloth will be really fun too, because these guys are like have so much. So it's fun to watch the polygons change as you go through and decimate these. And like I said, I could do this in a whole batch, where I decimate, or I pre-process everything and then I decimate it. I don't know. For right now, for the purpose of this, I'm just going through and showing you one by one, and hopefully to save my computer some memory so that it doesn't die or freak out on me, because that's always a thing too. Cool. It wouldn't die. My computer wouldn't die. It's pretty awesome. That is still so many polygons. Oh wait. That's not terrible, but with everything else, we're gonna decimate that again. Because I also have to keep in mind, this whole thing is going into... Ooh, okay, that worked. That was like, that's perfect. This whole thing is going into 3ds Max, so if I'm like, oh yeah, one of those could fit in, I have to think about literally everything else I have going in. It just, don't want to crash the file or whatever, or bog everything down with loading screens, which happens all the time. Also, I hope that like you can hear me and that my mic is good or whatever. Turns out the like mic settings that I had on it, there's like a hard lock under it, or on my headset, and I was moving it down. Wasn't moving it all the way down, and I didn't realize that. So I finally just pushed it all the way down, and I think it's out of my mouth range for breathing. If it isn't, let me know, because I can't hear, or else I get an awesome double like feedback loop if I have my stream on while I'm doing it. So, or on audio on. I have it on, I can see it, but Also, sorry if this is just like super boring. Some of the 3D modeling process can be kind of boring. I find a lot of this stuff really fun. But again, I'm the one doing it, so you know. Doop. What about 37? Still a lot, yeah. That is closer to that. Where are we? Let's see. Honestly, oh. So those are fine. I didn't lose a lot there or there. Okay. Yeah, this could probably go one more. Bloop. Yep. Alright. Super easy. This guy also can be real small. I don't need that many. It's really fun seeing like what the final point count, like what it started at and then what it ends at. Because it's really cool to see kind of almost the optimization just from the program itself and what it does. I'm switching between my mouse and my tablet pen. So if you see me like moving the mouse around really weird, that's because I'm probably on my mouse trying to figure out how to use the commands without a pen. Also, this is not so this is the high poly version, and And what that means is that all of these polygons aren't going into a game engine. I'm taking all of the details I have on these guys and I'm going to do what's called baking. And I'm going to take that lighting information, turn it into a normal map that's going to map to a lower poly model that does not have these details, but is going to light like it does, which is really cool, which means I can get away with a lot. And, you know, it saves the engine a whole crap ton of things. As well as, I don't have crazy huge like limits on printing for 3D printing stuff, but it doesn't hurt to know them. I just have to get it under 1,000,000 polygons, which total we're already there. So I don't have to go as thorough for these guys for the 3D printing. I could have kept it as a higher poly for them, which I can go back and change some stuff to do that, to get it printed, because I think this would be really fun to have printed. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with that. But yeah, what was I doing? Did I pre-process this? I did. Okay. Bloop. Process current. Just add my pen back. Dope. Okay, cool. We got this from 4 million to 120,000. And, oh, come back. Oh, look, it looks exactly the same. The back probably looks all garbage. Nope. Not terrible. Wow. So, yeah, that's super cool. I think this is really awesome. 4 million points. That actually wasn't total polygons. That was just points. Down to 120,000, which points of vertices. So now, with that, we get to export this bad boy out to a FBX. This needs to go into our weekly. This is gonna be, what do I want to name this? Probably sword. High poly? Export? I'm gonna do this weekly sword. You know, we still haven't come up with the name of this guy. Save. So it's gonna go through all of everyone, export it all out into one file. Awesome, cool. That's saved. I don't need to do this, so what we're actually going to do is switch Rooney on over to the 3ds Max. That should be up. And if it's not, if you're staring at a black screen, then hopefully it's up now. Go. Whoop. Come on. Did it not like the hot swap? I don't think it liked the hot swap. Rip. Technical difficulties, 1 sec. I think this is the first time I did a full... Yeah, I know, I see. Why are you not... Oh, there it is. Wait, what? Oh. Okay, weird. I guess I had to double click on it. We're good now. Cool. Okay, so now you can see what I'm doing. Dope. Okay, so we're back here. You can see where we left off. We got these guys. Gonna take these guys and just move them off to the side for a sec. So we've got. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Move off to the side. So here's our, here's the models, everything we popped in there. So now we can go ahead and import in that short high poly. Gonna orb that in. It's gonna give us some pop-up. It's gonna go through some stuff real quick. Prettiest Max is gonna tell me that it's not responding. Good times. Just gonna wait for this guy, and there it is. So ZBrush works at like a really small scale, so you always have to scale up your model when you go through that. Sorry, also trying to figure out top. This is always the worst part for me, at least. Is trying to figure out scale. That's pretty close. Actually, that's and then you take this and you lift it up, and you hope that everything works. I think we're just a hair off. That might have been it, but I think we screwed up down the bottom. Nah, cool. Okay, we're gonna keep this. This will be fine. Yeah, this will be fine. We'll make it work with. We can change some stuff. Okay, so actually I goofed. Not really. So there's something that I like to do that makes this really nice, and it's I make a new layer for all my high polys, which I think should be these guys. Yeah. And then I make a new layer with not what I want to hide those guys with just my low polys. I don't know if you can see the layer thing popping up since it pops up in a new window. Cool. So then I have high poly on its own layer and low poly on its own layer, so I can just like hide what I need. And I can actually hide defaults, which is awesome. And now I just have to go through these guys. This is the most annoying part. Every time it brings this in. Oh no. That's the blade, okay. Every time it brings stuff in from ZBrush, it adds this modifier called open subdivision or whatever. And they're also editable meshes, which we need to change, but I'll change that after I do this. Open subdivide, I think is what it is. Which bogs everything down all the time. It's really annoying. So you just have to go through, remove all those. I don't think it'll show them. Actually, I haven't tried. Let's check. Yeah, it won't show me if it's on there, if I group select them. So I just have to go through them individually and remove it. Because we don't need it. I would also, so the reason I'm doing it beforehand is because it adds polygons, and if I got them down to a polygon count that I thought was manageable, having something on it that adds polygons screws that up. So when I would convert them to an editable poly, not an editable mesh, it's all sorts of wonk. It's really annoying. Okay, cool. Now everything's removed, so we can go ahead and convert this to an editable poly, which fixes our little shield or our little mesh issue. Now comes the kind of interesting part, where we basically, what I normally do is I can start from the bottom. Started from the bottom, now I'm here. We're just gonna do that. So we'll start with the bottom. I think is pommel 2. Bloop. There it is. And, whoa. I'm gonna leave Layer Explorer up. Nah, I don't need to. Okay, so now basically what we can do, what I'm going to do is actually move this guy more in line with ours. Because I can do that. Everything else is pretty good. I don't know if I wanted to keep the bottom part there or not. But right now I have the low poly selected. And I just made it it's called X-ray. And so now what I can do, I think I wanted, we'll figure it out. But what I want to do is, now I'm just going to start kind of building geometry on it. House what I want, pretty much. I'm pretty sure I'm missing, if we click on that guy and also make it, yeah, there we go, okay. Oh, also, shoot. There we go. I think if I turn this off and then click on this, that is not what I wanted. I goofed. Okay. I thought I wanted, well, that's actually better. That's close to what I want, that's fine. I don't think I needed to make this, but that'll be okay. Oops. Edge. Control backspace will delete everything. Son of a bitch. It's fine. Control backspace will delete something, an edge, and also delete its hey Forger. Glad you could show up. Hope you're feeling alright. I was talking about control delete or control backspace. Deletes an edge and also deletes the vertices with it. So if I will show you. We'll go to edge. If I just normally backspace this, those vertices are still there, as shown by this. So now I just have this weird wonky edge there, which is not good. If I control backspace, which I don't know if it's going to do this one. Or try anyways. Control backspace. Yeah, okay. It deleted the vertices that were with it, as you can see. So, just some cool little like techniques on how to get things to look different, etc., etc. I was doing something. That's what I wanted. So we want this, and then I want from here to there. And from here to here, I think something along those lines. Oh wow, that was garbage, but that's fine. Vertex. Actually, that might be freaking perfect. So what I'm doing is basically breaking this so that I can actually have this geometry into the low poly mesh. That way the silhouette breaks when you look at it, which just is really cool. No, it provides some really awesome feedback for a player, because there is limitation to what the normals can show. So if it's lit like it's actually hit, but you can tell that it's not, immersion. You broke my immersion. But if you can make it work, or make it show that, show like it's dented, then it's looks way cooler. This is the hardest part, which is figuring out when things aren't triangles, what needs to be where. And I think these guys need to be connected. Yeah, that's also, I guess. Yeah, that'll be fine. This, and a lot of this just comes with practice of knowing like what the right ones to connect are. I have no idea. This is my, you know, I'm still very new at this, so if there's better ways to do it, which there probably are better ways, you know, optimization wise, of like, oh, you always want to do, you know, when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, you always want this one to be put this way or whatever. There's probably, you know, like I said, better ways to do it, but right now that's what I'm doing. So, okay, so that's cool. Like everything else is pretty much exactly the same. The normals are gonna bake down pretty friggin' dang cool. The question is, do we want to have this hole also in there, or do we want this to be popping out like it is? Because if we want to just do easy, then we just go to top level and we symmetry this thing. I think I want it over the z-axis. Yeah, I just do this. And I just right there, and then my layers. If we hide this, you can see. So that's like the smash detail that I just put in there. I need to fix that. But if we just symmetry it, then it gets smashed on both sides. I think I'm gonna keep that. That's fine. Plus it's less work for me because now I only have to do one half of the normals, or the UV mapping, and it'll just flip-flop onto the side, which is pretty cool. But what are we at? 36, cool. Okay, vertex. So this right here is bad to have. No, it's a big no-no. You always, well, I've been told that is always nice to break quads. Why is that there? Weird. Oh, it's probably left over. You always want to break quads into triangles. Because a game engine renders everything in triangles. So either way, if you don't have triangles, it's just gonna bring them to the, like, it's just gonna turn into triangles anyways. So if you can determine what gets turned into a triangle and on which directions, it's nicer for the engine rather than the engine triangulating your model and then suddenly you have triangles all over the random place. And your edge flow is all messed up. So I want to get rid of that. So now what we got to do is figure out, I think I want this to be here. And then I need to figure out, I think this needs to go here. Okay. And then this would also need to go here. Done. These guys, it can separate them however it wants. I just meant about this one in particular, because it's nicer when you can determine how that goes. That might cause some issues. There's a thing called pinching, where when you get a lot of, like this guy, when you get a lot of angles coming in, sometimes the way it lights can get all kind of weird and wonky, and it shows up, and it looks like something's being pinched. But for the most part, I think we're okay on that. So I actually don't show this message again, and no. I was looking to see where we're at as far as the hilt. Which it looks like the hilt is pulled down. I think the blade might be the only thing that's on, if anything. Oh my gosh. Alright, that's fine. I can just move all those up. But yeah, so there we go. So our first piece is done. And we won't do UVs. We'll do that as like a whole next chapter type thing. I guess I could do chapters. That'd be fun. All right. So I would consider this to be pretty much done as a low poly mesh for the pommel. So now we want these two guys. Hide everything else. So this is our high poly, which again should just be moved up. Okay. I don't think I really need to do anything else to this guy. I think those are just going to bake down just fine. I mean, obviously I'll have to change that, or I'll have to UV map that, but that's not a big deal. Okay, cool. That was easy. That one was pretty much done. It's kind of nice when you do stuff like that. And then these guys, bloop. So this, oh. Was, I think, yeah, it was, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the hell I did when I sculpted it. And I brought it down. I want it up, I think, a little bit. I think I want it like up here. Something like right there. This, I'm probably gonna need to add something to. Or, actually I might not have to. This is where it gets tricky, is when you have these kind of complicated mesh shapes that aren't so easily just, yeah, let me change some things real quick. And actually, you know what might make this easier? Maybe. Sometimes this can be super wonky. So what I just did there, so the 3ds Max has like a whole, interesting, has like a whole, engine space, I think, where it determines, the world, I guess. So there's like a world, air quotes there, for how it determines like on what planes I'm moving vertices or stuff on, but everything also has a local option. So I'm moving it in regards to like weird angles and stuff that it's on, like its local axis versus the world axis that stays kind of the same throughout. The local axis changes based on obviously how I move it and where I move it, which is good for some things and also and bad for others. Like if I were to try to scale something on the world axis when it does not line up with anything, it's going to scale and warp in a weird way. Versus if I changed it to a local axis, it would just scale it along the local one. So it's kind of fun to kind of, well, it's good to know. Okay, so right now, honestly, I don't think I really need to do anything more else. I think the normals are going to do enough for that one. Well, hopefully. So we're going to move on to the next one. So if I'm diligent and good, um, ooh, what? Oh, Alt Tab. That's not what I wanted. I wanted Alt me. What? Come back. There it is. That was weird. Um, um, if oh, sorry, getting distracted. There's too many things going on. If my low poly that I send into ZBrush, um, and I just smooth some things out, maybe add details onto it, but I get a pretty good edge flow and a pretty solid low poly before I even send it in there. Sometimes I don't even have to do anything. I just have to line them up and then get them to work, and it's really awesome because it saves me a ton of time. And there's sometimes where I have to make entire model changes. Just depends on what I'm doing. So there's that as well. Like this probably won't even need to be changed. Oops. Oh my gosh. It'll just. Yep. Yeah. Probably won't even. It's just gonna. That's pretty much just smooth out. Um. So yeah. Sometimes it. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Um. Just how it happens. Oh yeah. See, so this one, right? This one's has a model change. Um. So I might have to add that cut in through the whole thing, which won't be terrible. Wait, I might. Oh, okay. Yeah. So now we need Alt X, which, huh? So actually, we might be able to get away with something. Vertex. Okay, something's screwy. Apparently, if I double click, help! Oh my gosh, I did something. I don't know what I did. View? Okay. I think something's might have accidentally hit a button or two that is off, but that's fine. Okay, so one thing I do know that I want to do is connect those guys. So we actually have something to work with over here. We're gonna move this back. Oh gosh. Oh wow. Uh, that was. Oh man, that was. Whew. Um, jarring. um, sorry. So now, what we're gonna do is. So what I'm gonna try to do something here. So we're gonna move this up a little bit, and then I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna start here, cut to that, cut all the way down here, and then same thing, I'll cut, oh no, I gotta go up higher, don't I? There to here. Let's see, what are we at? Okay. Oop. Oh. And this is why cutting can be dangerous. because it creates geometry in ways you would not expect, which is awesome. Alright, so what we're actually going to do, since I just literally cut that hole, we can do this. Polygon, delete these guys, deleted, and then I can do edge, that edge to this edge. I wonder if it will let me bridge that. Well, we're gonna try it. We're going to try. Hey, let me do it. Cool. So then what we're gonna do is take these two and bridge that one. It's not gonna let me. Okay. Stop. Sorry, we're gonna have to do some shenanigans. I have to do this pretty regularly. So what I'm doing is we can hide the inside now. Sorry if I just blew into the mic. I do that a lot. Alright, so right now, according to this, there's a hole right here. Hole, right through the geometry, right? Can't see anything, blah, blah, blah. What I just did was I took this edge and this edge, and I did this really cool thing called bridging, where I did this, and then it created a, oh look, we have geometry inside of it now. And then this guy, sometimes you can bridge these together. This one, it sadly isn't working. It really doesn't like that it's a 3V triangle. So instead, I do some shenanigans where I pull out geometry from the side, create new ones, and then I take those vertices that I just created, these two guys right here, and I target weld them to the one vertice down here in the corner. And that seals up the geometry and gives me a nice little piece. And look at that, we have a solid little cut out of our piece. Yep. This is gonna need to change, but actually all I need to do is just do that. Ta-da! Fixed it. Actually, I didn't. Now I fixed it. For that one. I think this one I literally was able to do. Yeah, I should figure out how to do it on the other side too. But there's that whole thing that goes through it. Oh. Nah, okay, it's fine. It's whatever. Okay, so that went through it. So now I have that whole thing cut out, which should line up with our other thing. Oh no. Nope. 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 Yeah. I don't have everything named yet, so I'm just kind of guessing at this point. Cool. So there it is. And it lines up almost exactly with the normals. So that's always exciting. So this one I would consider done. Then we move on to the next one, which is this guy. And I think the cloth it needs is inside of it, actually. Honestly, I probably don't even need to make normals onto this. Like, it would be totally fine. It's hidden, but just for funsies. Pull up the layer. Oop. Pull up the layer. No. There it is. Cloth 4. Got it. Okay. I'm gonna hide everything else. So, Shift P. Oops. So I can can scale that up a bit. Okay, this one's really boring, but there it is. Ta-da! We did it. This guy. Just line up again. Okay. Cool. Oh. Okay, so let's do this. I have 6 minutes. This would be a bad one to start now. This guy would be good. So for the most part, those normals are gonna go pretty good through this. This is right here. Alt X. And also Alt X, so I can see stuff through it. Oh, and actually, I don't need those, cause it doesn't bend on that line, so having those on the bottom like that doesn't actually help me. There's 3 here too. Yeah. Bloop. Cause this is supposed to be a low poly, so, which actually what I can do, so there's this really cool thing. So if I did this, which if I double click on an edge, it'll do a whole loop for me. So I pick one, and then I believe it is, yeah, it's a dot ring. It selects every other edge for me, all the way around. And I can control backspace and drop the polygon count. So I do that a lot, because obviously I didn't need that many because the shape is still there. So this will be tricky though. Maybe it won't. I want to keep it moving along I want to do local. This is what I'm talking about, how like local can get super wonky. Like, the hell is this? But I think we're okay for the most part. You know, we're gonna do this the other direction. Get my edge flow a little bit better. So there's a couple ways again I can do this. What I'll probably end up doing is whoop. Gotta make sure I don't get all of them. Okay, so that just should be the whole loop, right? And then I'm gonna connect them all together. Get me one line that I can move kind of in line with what I want. Vertex. Oh, what? Oops. I have to watch out if I'm selecting like that, to make sure I don't get all of them. So I think I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one, where we're just going to take this geometry and make it do what I want. And then just delete it. So wherever my cut tool is, take that, cut here. Bloop. And do edges. These guys are gonna bridge a lot nicer because I have nice segmented out polygon things. Oh wow. Well, it's 7. I'm gonna bring this back to view just so we can bring these guys in. But yeah, so that's part of the like low poly modeling workflow that I use to make this stuff happen. I hope you found that interesting, or as interesting or as fun as I do, because it actually is pretty entertaining once you get the hang of it. Obviously, there's going to be some polygon cleanup that I'm going to do there, but for the most part, that's it. We'll continue up with this next week on what we're doing, but I hope you were having fun. I know I was. Oh, I got to do on the other side too. Huh, look at that. I can show you how to do that next week, actually. So we can bring everything back. Yeah, I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next week.